And we're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. Uh, today, today we're focused on Star Trek: The Original Series episode. What is it? 21.
If
Court
you say
Martial.
it, I'll believe it.
I think it's 21. Court Martial. I'm joined by Fathery and Earl Grey Trekkie, and of course you, the audience. Hello, Blue. Blue Spark, who was with us last night on on our shenanigans. Sorry, audience who don't know the trick, but you can speed through our 4 hour discussion by increasing the the speed of the video on YouTube. It's like it's a feature. But unless you like to go for 4 hour discussions, that would be awesome. The live audience was having fun. It was lit.
Indeed.
We had our New Year's Day celebration yesterday, and today is no longer New Year's Day, so there's nothing to celebrate except this episode of TOS. So, so let's get to it. I think there might be another couple of guests coming, possibly. No, Saturday streams are a little non-committal, so it's okay. And people are still waking up sometimes and stuff like that, or other people are in the future, like Earl Grey Trekkie over there. Do either of you gentlemen feel up to doing the summary?
No.
All right, I'll do it. uh, Captain Kirk and crew are at Starbase 11 for routine maintenance after experiencing a little bit of a catastrophe in an ion storm where they lost a crew member named Ben Finney, who was apparently a friend of Kirk's from the Academy days. And so while doing that, it comes to light that apparently Captain Kirk had jettisoned a ion pod prematurely that contained Ben Finney in it during a yellow alert rather than during a red alert. And this creates a huge problem as it suggests that he may have murdered Ben Finney. And so Captain Kirk's insistent that the computer, which everyone agrees is infallible, is somehow wrong, and demands justice for himself. So he demands a court martial, and his old flame. Wow, Father, keeping you up there. His just kidding. His old flame. My
I would get
summaries are.
that fast speed button right now.
Wow. Okay, here we go. Anyways, his old flame, uh, uh, his old flame. What's her name again?
Shaw, right?
Ariel. Sorry, Ariel Shaw. Yeah, has to prosecute against him. So she insists that he seek out this eccentric lawyer named Cogley and to defend him. And we get a fantastic courtroom drama that ensues, in which Captain Kirk, it looks right up until the end that he's going to be done for, and that the court martial will disgrace him. But then Spock, triggered by a reference to chess, when all things are dire, decides to test the computer and finds that, oh, something's amiss, and is able to determine from that someone created a deep fake of Captain Kirk pushing the buttons and all that stuff, and and was setting him up. So the lawyer Cogley decides, petitions to the court, and in a beautiful kind of speech about, like, you're putting machines above humans and all this stuff, and petitions the court to continue the final leg of the trial on board the Enterprise, and in a really cool scene with a bunch of heartbeats um, being isolated, they determined that Ben Finney was in fact not dead. He was alive and he was hiding aboard the Enterprise, and his plan was to disgrace Captain Kirk by to further disgrace Captain Kirk by crashing the Enterprise into the starbase, into the planet M11, I believe it's called, and but fortunately, Captain Kirk, in his shirt ripping bravado, is able to subdue Finney, and then all's good in the end. And it turns out that the same lawyer that defended Kirk is defending Finney, and Finney will probably be let off on an insanity plea because he was insane. You can see it from the actor's performance. And that's it. Space craziness. That was a good summary, right?
It was, yeah.
Yay! All right, now we can talk about it. What did y'all think?
I really liked this one, even though it's not technically the first courtroom episode. I guess the menagerie is.
Yeah, I guess so. It's true.
But this is strictly focused on the court martial. It doesn't have like another plot that kind of like takes precedence. This is just like oh, it's just all about like the trial of Kirk.
Indeed. What about you, Robbie? What did you think?
I think it's quite different from the menagerie. I'm not sure if I prefer it or not. I think it's a lot more.
Well, it's not a clip show this time.
Yeah, it's definitely not a clip show.
I think I like it a lot more than the menagerie.
Very cool. Yeah, I agree. I like this episode. I'd forgotten about the details that occur, and when I was watching it, I was just like really compelled by William Shatner's performance. Again, I just forgot what a great actor he is. Like, I guess like a lot of people. Oh, hey, Shaka's here! Yay!
Shaka.
Shaka, did you just watch the episode?
Yeah.
We're just opening up with our general thoughts on the episode. I was saying how impressed I was with William Shatner's performance in this episode. I thought he gave a really great performance. You're like, eh. In fact, everyone.
Him as I am impressed with the lawyer. He's the one that stole the show.
Oh, Cogley, right?
Samuel T. Cogley. Yeah, bring him back in Strange New Worlds or something.
Yeah.
Make like a Star Trek court martial show. Like it's like all just courtroom episodes. Is it starring
He
him?
had so much confidence. It was amazing. Like he really acted his ass off on that episode.
The actor Alicia Cook has been in so much stuff. He looked familiar to me, and it's because I. You're gonna make me yawn, Father.
Oh, sorry.
It's contagious. I'm like, and our audience is probably yawning as well.
I'll hide when I do it again.
No, you can do it. You can do it. It's fun. Father had some milkshakes last night, guys.
I had one milkshake.
Oh, one milkshake. And
Yeah,
then...
I didn't have enough ice cream to make any more, sadly. It's the worst. That's literally the worst thing that's happened to me all year.
But yeah, he was excellent. So was the actor who plays Ariel Shaw. Her name was Joan Marshall. All of these actors are dead. I also wanted to talk about Commodore or Portmaster Stone.
Commodore, I remember from. It's so weird to see him. Not rare, but weird to see him on the show because I remember him from Good Times, The Jeffersons, like all the black shows that were out there. He has been on in the late 80s and 90s.
That's interesting. I have to look again on IMDb because I didn't see him.
When I saw him, a whole flood of memories came rushing back. I'm like, he's on Star Trek? This is so weird because he's usually, just doing the black movement on these shows, and now he's on Star Trek. Or before that, I mean, Star Trek came before.
He's actually a Canadian actor, and yeah, Rodriguez suggests he might have some.
He's Hispanic, yeah, probably.
Yeah. Let's see.
But yeah, man, that was really cool to see him.
Yeah, I thought he looked familiar. I guess I might have saw him in one of those other shows. I always thought this dude looked familiar.
He was in Planet of the Apes. He was
Apes,
Captain. Yeah. He was the narrator for Captain EO. If you guys ever saw that.
Oh wow!
Wow.
that
Captain EO is canceled now. You can't have Captain EO in 2021.
Oh, okay, sorry. But he is the narrator in that. Benson, which I loved, that show, and Rene Auberjonois was in that show. He did a bunch of episodes of that.
I think he was in T.J. Hooker also.
Yeah, it says here he was in one episode of T.J. Hooker, so reunion for him and Shatner.
Yeah.
I don't see him in Good Times or anything though. You might be confusing him for some. Oh, The Jeffersons. There he is in 77. That's how long ago that show was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nuts. A year before I was born. But yeah, he played Aboro.
Maybe he was uncredited, but I'm so sure I saw him with Florida Evans in a scene together.
It does say he is in Good Times. You're right. He plays Florida's cousin, and he was in the Planet of the Apes TV series in one episode called The Tyrant. He played a character named Aboro. But yeah, he's a great actor, and he's very good against Shatner. In this episode, I thought he was like very formidable. I thought it was interesting that he was trying to initially kind of push things under the rug. Like he was giving him like a chance, like he was giving Captain Kirk, the character was giving Captain Kirk like a chance to like, I guess, take a desk job. So this is like kind of an interesting,
because of the seniority
thing.
He doesn't want him to go to jail. I think it looks bad because he mentioned something about you're the first captain that's going to be on trial. You know, am I coming through clear?
Yes.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that.
Oh, okay.
I was just thinking about that because it's true. And there's this whole thing, like, I guess, it's interesting that like how Starfleet seems to have this like spotless record of no.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted that to happen, which is why. Yeah, he suggested, hey, why don't you, just say you're guilty. Take a desk job. You won't go to jail.
I want to be a Trek lawyer. Great name, Jill. I want to be a Trek lawyer says nothing beats the menagerie in my book. So that's cool. Captain RGD, hello. Discovery doesn't seem to have a dress uniform. I noticed that.
That is true. Well,
and
neither
I was wondering
did
about that.
The original series until we got to the menagerie and then court martial. But like in Balance of Terror, the wedding, like no one's wearing a dress uniform.
This episode is technically the first appearance of the dress uniform, even though the menagerie aired first.
They shot this and then they turned around and they shot the menagerie like right after it. So if you watch the shows in production order, you get like 2 courtroom episodes at Starbase 11 at the same Starbase back to back.
It's true.
At the beginning of this, I was thinking of the menagerie because Spock took 10 minutes getting there. And I was already like, oh, well, Spock messed up. He's trying to frame Kirk again. What the hell's wrong with this guy? I have no trust for Spock whenever he's late. I'm like, no. What'd you do? What did you do?
I think it's the same sets, too. It's the same Starbase, right? Like, set.
Yeah,
with
I was so suspicious.
That's funny.
And they never went back on that, too. They never said, well, Spock came late. They never even touched on that. So I'm like, okay, wait, is this a red herring, or is this like Spock really trying to mess with Kirk again?
He slept late.
I want to be a Trek lawyer wants to know who should play Cogley in Strange New Worlds. A character that reminded me of Cogley in Battlestar Galactica was the lawyer character in that. Like there was a vibe. Do you remember? Do you guys know who I'm talking about in the reboot of Galactica?
Oh yeah, that same guy. He plays Badger in Firefly, and he's in Doctor Who. He's in a ton of science fiction. His dad was also his dad played the warden in Star Trek VI at Europente, and he's in a bunch of science fiction stuff too.
Oh, that's rad. So yeah, I think he should play. Then just because of the legacy, he should play Cogley in Strange New Worlds.
You don't know they wouldn't. They got Rainn Wilson to be Harry Mudd in Discovery.
Yeah.
So I think if they did, who's the main dude off of The Office? What's his name?
Oh, what is it?
Steve Carell.
Yeah, Steve Carell. I think they'd get Steve Carell to play Cogley.
I actually love that. That's
I could see that.
Really,
yeah,
I could totally see that. I didn't realize this, but Rodriguez' bread and butter as an actor was voiceovers for trailers, dozens and dozens of those. So was he the guy, the Inner Land?
This guy was like the go-to guy, man. Like his record is so filled with just unique stuff. It's incredible.
Hey, LDG Pixels. So yeah, that was Percy Rodriguez. I already highlighted Alicia Cook Jr., who played Cogley, great actor, and Ariel Shaw was played by Joan Marshall. But then we have Ben Finley, who was played by Richard Webb. Sadly, all of these performers are now gone. So
did you guys cover the music that was being played at the bar?
No, at Starbase 11. So let's talk about Starbase 11. I loved Starbase 11, and I
think that
loved
was
the little
classy.
lounge.
The way they did that was real classy.
I especially loved seeing other peers of Kirk's, I guess. Like, first of all, in the remaster, the opening shot was pretty cool and busy. Like, and those shuttlecrafts like move fast. Like, I really liked the way they did that, and with like just a little bit better shading and lighting, techniques and stuff like that, you could totally see Strange New Worlds using the same aesthetic if they wanted to. I could totally see it, but I know that's not going to happen, and I'm not worried about it. But I'm just saying it was very cool that the remastered had such an exciting space scene. What did you guys think of all the remastered stuff?
I like that they show the pod hole on the side of the ship.
Right. The what was the ion pod, right?
Yeah, and the pod eject button on the captain's chair is so ridiculous that it's there. But on like the Discovery captain's chair, they put like a pod eject button on it.
Are you serious? I didn't realize that. What is the pod? Like, what's the deal with the pod, and why do you need to eject it? Like, what is its purpose? Like, I didn't understand that. Did you guys have a headcanon thing going on?
To help the plot, that's why.
It's the plot pod.
It's a plot device.
It did.
Yeah, that was really classy, and what I still I'll never get over is the wide spaces in engineering. Like that huge engineering room is just vast with nothing
really
but floor and nothing else around it. Just floor. It's just a whole bunch of floor. Perfect for a fight.
It is perfect for fight scenes. That is true. But I always thought that was a cool engineering set. Like, I did like the vast spaces in it because you could see like lots of engineers. Like,
whoever coordinated that scene though needs to be shot, because all Kirk did, if you notice, was just walk around that little piece like twice. That's all he did, trying to look for.
Yeah,
he walked around and the camera followed him. Then he walked around again, and that's when he got caught. And I was like, "Are you serious? He just did a lap. That's all he did."
It is funny that we've seen that same kind of scenario before in the episode where he has his what is it called? The Enemy Within, where he splits them in two. And then there was another fight happened in engineering. I think lots of fights happen in the engineering set. I guess it's like easy to hide.
That's his home turf. Whenever he wants to fight,
all those equipment things.
He's like, I have home field advantage on that. Spock, try to figure out a way to get him to engineering. I'll
what were
beat
you
him.
Gonna say, Robbie?
Kirk and Khan had a fight in engineering.
Wait, what's that?
In Space
Seed, he and Khan also fight in engineering? Oh, man.
Oh, well, there you go. Home field advantage.
I mean, it's like the best place to go if you want to like sabotage or take over the ship, right? Like, you got to go to engineering. I do find how odd it is that like they wouldn't have it like staffed for this, like in case that he's like, he was so confident, he's like, we'll have the crew back before the ship's orbit deteriorates. Like,
well, the original series always had these dramatic ticking clocks that just so that there's like a sense of dramatic urgency, and I kind of prefer Star Trek to have that. And I think like later Star Trek shows, specifically Star Trek: The Next Generation, could have used this in a lot of episodes where they're just kind of like just leisurely just going through, and it's like, okay, well, there's no like it doesn't feel like there's as much consequence as there would have been on the original series because you don't have that dramatic urgency.
Right.
I like the blow up the ship button. Oops.
Yeah, that was really
Oh, my finger slipped.
It does seem really awfully easy to hit the wrong button and eject that pod for whatever reason. Like it's like, it is very interesting.
Oops.
Captain RGD wants to know, is Kirk considered a himbo? That is something we're actively finding out as we go through these discussions. So far, I don't think he has been too himbo-y this season. I think that happens like later, where he gets a little bit more himbo-y. But so far, he's been, I think he's been pretty acceptable. I don't know. What do you guys
It's kind
think?
of an exaggeration, like the pop cultural idea of like Kirk is like the womanizer. It's not to the extent that like you see it in the Kelvin movies, where like every time like a woman walks by, I'm like, oh, hello, ladies. Like, that's not really Kirk. That's more of just kind of like the pop cultural idea of Kirk.
Right.
And I think a lot of people are like
Kirk,
dismissive of the character because of that.
Speaking of Captain Kirk's character, we got some really nice moments, especially the scene when Spock is on trial on the seat, and he's like basically like telling Shaw that like first of all he's like I know everything about computer. She's like, and you know a lot about computers, and he's like, everything. I know all there is to know about computers.
Yeah.
And then he's insistent that it's impossible for Captain Kirk to be lying because it's just completely out of his character. And I liked all that stuff about.
I like the analogy that Spock made when he's like, when I drop a hammer, I could easily turn away because I know what's going to happen. Like,
It
that's
was
the
really
hammer's
weird
purpose.
that he would compare human behavior to the behavior of inanimate objects, because I think it's actually human behavior is actually more erratic, and that part I disagreed with. Like,
Especially for Kirk.
well, I mean, I understand what he was going for, but like comparing it to like the almost absolute, certainty that a hammer would fall and hit the ground, like a human could surprise you. Like there's
Yeah.
like, and Spock should know that, like not just humans, but just like any sentient type beings. Spock should know.
Which is why I'm
this.
glad
It's
she
very
shut him
funny.
down. And she's like, that's your opinion, though, right?
Right, it's true.
It's your opinion because you're an idiot for even saying that.
No.
But it was Spock trying to defend his friend.
Yeah, it's true.
After showing up 10 minutes late, yeah.
It's cool how Cogley didn't have any questions for any of
That was
of the witnesses.
He wanted to
I
get
also
straight to the meat.
It's not clear what the little circular thing that you put your hand on does. Is it like
It's like Wonder Woman's last one.
monitoring
Makes you tell the
do you
truth.
think it's like a Eli? Yeah, is it like Eli in Discovery? Is it monitoring if you're lying?
Yeah,
or not?
we see the same prop being used in a future episode, The Wolf in the Fold, where Scotty is on trial for murder. Sorry, my dog is being loud. But
No worries.
there it's what they call it, the psycho tricorder, and it does function as a lie
Jeez.
detector. They kind of forget
interesting.
they forget about the psycho tricorder after that. They never use it in anything else.
That name sounds weird.
What was it?
It implies something else.
I drew some parallels, and maybe I'm stretching, between this and Measure of a Man, and maybe it's just because they're both courtroom dramas. But I thought that it was interesting that Shaw and Lavoie both
Yeah, they both have like an
were-
old flame from like the captain's old flame.
right, and that they had to be the adversary basically.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
they,
know.
they both meet in a bar before the trial.
They both meet in a bar, yeah. So there was like so many, and Melinda Snodgrass says in the script, anyways, there was no intentional homage to that. But I wonder if it just kind of like unintentionally ended up that way. So it's kind of an interesting thing.
Intentionally, unintentionally.
I
The other thing
did.
I'm thinking about is Shore Leave, also that mysterious woman that was Kirk's or girlfriend or whoever it was, because you know
Oh, yeah.
the planet makes your dreams come true, and I'm like, they're just painting this picture of Kirk being this, you know,
I
this
mean, he gets
James Bond
around.
suave.
He
He's got
seems
some history.
no, both of those.
He's got some promiscuity, but he's not just like a total like like
I
womanizer horn dog
I
type of
read it
guy.
differently in that in Shore Leave. I read her as an old love, like an actual relationship, and also this lady as well. Like I feel like they were in a relationship less carnal, more romantic, if that makes any
Well,
sense.
I think Kirk loves all of them.
How many years
he
can
loves
you
all
put into that Starfleet when you're trying to be a captain?
Well,
There
yeah,
can't
that
be
is the
more years.
tragedy. That's actually like a theme that reoccurs, is that Kirk seems to always choose duty and
Hmm?
his starship
because
over
he's
romance.
in a relationship with the Enterprise as his top
Right, until he
priority.
meets Antonia.
Well,
Antonio.
even with Antonia, he still
Antonia.
went back. He still went
Yeah,
back
he's
to
still
Starfleet.
it's still
And that,
yeah, that's true.
that was
Good
the one that
point.
he
Good
He
point.
replaced
actually did.
most.
He left. Yeah, he left her.
I find
But
it
yeah,
hard to believe he's had all these relationships and he's only a young captain.
he's almost 30.
He's over 30.
He's
That's a
over
good question.
30.
Yeah,
He's over
he'd be
30.
33 during this.
I think that like I think it's perfectly reasonable for him to have had maybe 5 to 7 or 10 past relationships by this point,
Well, no,
especially
he has a
considering
lot. I mean, and that's the thing. Like with Kirk,
he's
is like
hundreds.
he
He has
doesn't
hundreds.
he
No, I'm
doesn't
kidding.
he doesn't like
Thousands.
he doesn't like resent his exes. He doesn't resent them,
He seems to be
and
friends with
like
all of them too.
yeah, like he tries. He genuinely like cares about all these people, like all these women that he's had like romantic history with. Like, he generally cares about all of them, and he's never like resentful of any of his exes. He's never like, oh yeah, like that one was like a total psycho. Like I hate that bitch. Like that's not how Kirk does. And I think that's like a good way to experience romance in your own life. And that's something that like you can learn from Captain Kirk, is that you shouldn't think of it as like, oh well, a relationship that doesn't like last the rest of your life is, when it like breaks down and falls apart, it's like a failure. It's like, no, it's like that's just life. And you like, yeah, like it's natural for like different people to come like in and out of your life like that, but that you can still like maintain like those positive feelings towards all of them.
There was a great scene at the bar, reminded me of yesterday when you played that voice clip of Kirk.
Yes.
What I'm talking about?
Thank you for bringing that up. I actually thought of that as well when he's confronting.
No, you tell me.
You
tell me.
Yeah. It was 100%. I totally thought of that as well. That was definitely William Shatner being very very catty there.
That was so great.
They read very similarly. I was disappointed in the other captains that how quick they were to judge him. I think there's like resentment among the other captains, and when I come to think about it, like Picard has captain friends, like especially in the episode Conspiracy and stuff like that, and you see other captain friends, but I can't remember Kirk really having other captain friends. Like, it's an interesting thing about him.
Star Trek Captain Friends.
Oh, and in this episode also establishes that some people on other ships all have like the Delta patch on their Starfleet uniform. You know how, like,
that's right.
sometimes in the original series when they go to a different ship, they have like a different patch on their shirt. But here, like, well, everyone in this episode has like the Enterprise Delta. So,
Stress Free K, welcome to stream. I like to think of Captain Kirk as that song that Frank Sinatra sings. I have been a rover, I have walked alone, hiked 100 highways, never found a home. You know that one? Still know I'm happy. The reason is you see.
No, but keep singing it. Let's keep singing.
Once in a while along the way, love's been good to me. All right, now you guys have homework. You have to go listen to that song.
I promise to not do that.
Fine.
Can I say something about Cogley when when they cut to Kirk's I guess hotel room, and Cogley is like broken in, and he's in there like all of his books
Where
everywhere.
you get it's like hundreds of books.
Those are actually like legal books. Like they use them in movies and stuff all the time. Whenever there's like a bunch of books on a bookshelf, but where they have like
props.
it has like that black and red stripe on the spine. Those are like law books that attorneys do use in real life. My friend who's an attorney told me this, and he also said that it would be, I almost said the F word. It would be freaking insane for a guy to be like, you know what? Just screw computers. I want to do it all with like actual books.
Not just that, like, how did he carry all those books to Captain Kirk's quarters? That's what I want to know. They had to have been like transported there.
Yeah,
the transporter.
But I mean, like, he went nuts for this case. Like, he had like so many references. Like he did nothing really when it came down to it. He didn't really like. He just kind of bought time for Spock to figure it out, and then although he's not even there for the final hearing because he goes to fetch
the daughter, right?
The daughter, but then we never see her again.
We go on the word of Kirk that she's there.
Right, she's possibly back, but like there's no wrap up. Like I mean, we do get that nice little reference.
That the last part of the. I mean, it's Star Trek. It's the early 70s, so I understand. But shows still do that to this day, and I really despise it when there's narration over. He's like, well, after I flagged him, he confessed to me. I'm like, no, I want to see it. Don't just
I didn't mind.
wrap
I mean,
it up in narration.
They had to kind of wrap up the episode. I thought it was funny that it was just like a bunch of like wires in the Jeffries.
Pull this one. He didn't even look like he knew what he was doing. He was pulling this one. Oh, that one's over there. And he pulled that one too. Oh, okay. And then there was one day he left. He was like, I want to. No, that one should stay. I'm like, how do you know?
It was very conveniently wrapped up, I thought. But again, there were a lot of great points, but those were definitely like some of the things like where I think Cogley had such a great potential, but I actually think he was underdeveloped or underused, perhaps. Like, although the actor saves it by being a great performer. Don't get me wrong,
wow,
like,
man,
he's certainly memorable, but I think there could have been a little bit more. Like, it is surprising. They're even like, why are you leaving in the middle of this trial? I also find it interesting that like the tribunal didn't want to depart a crashing ship. They're like, no, we have to listen. We have to listen to this witness's testimony. It doesn't matter that the ship is going to crash.
It's about to crash to a planet. It's fine.
Things. The climax was definitely funny like that. What did you guys think?
I thought the same thing, really. Except I love making little stories in my head whenever scenes like this come up, because I think they didn't expect him to act as good as he did as the lawyer. And when he did, they were like, oh, damn. Now the material doesn't match the actor. So it's going to seem really stupid that he's just leaving the ship for no reason whatsoever, except to bring the daughter back, because we didn't film the daughter actually coming back. So now it just doesn't make any sense.
I think if I had to rewrite this episode, I would have had a scene where Cogley and is it Janie?
Yeah,
who's named after Kirk, come into engineering, and that's when Finney kind of comes back to reality, and and so on and so forth. But c'est la vie, that didn't happen. The other thing I wanted to talk about was how old is Janie Finney?
Seriously.
Because
seriously,
she's wearing like a Sailor Moon outfit, like that I would expect like a much younger person than what she seemed like. She seemed like she was like
it seemed like she was in her late 20s already, the way she was talking.
I wouldn't say late. I wouldn't go so far as late 20s, but definitely like late teens, early 20s.
Yeah,
and she was dressing like a 10-year-old. What's that?
I wasn't a fan of her outfit.
Yeah, that outfit was kind of. I mean, I liked it on the one on the one hand because it had a futuristic vibe, like they made it shiny and like sparkly, I guess. Like like,
The
but it is
future.
interesting. I would like to see that specific outfit pop up in Strange New Worlds as a fashion item in the background. That would be really funny if they did a homage to
With
this
the pockets
outfit.
inside out.
What did you guys think of her like adamance that her father hated Jim, but then later on she kind of flips on that and is
I think
suggesting
that gave her character because, yeah, in a situation like that, when you just find out something happens and you find out who was responsible, you would flip out on that guy, you know? But then after a while, you would calm down and say, listen, I apologize for outbursting like that, you know, especially when the evidence was proven that his fingers slipped and he pressed the
well,
eject pod
it didn't
button.
look like a slip of the finger, but it definitely didn't look intentional. Like
Yeah, it didn't look
I get what you're
intentional,
saying. Yeah.
you know? So yeah, I think that gave her a little bit of character because at first I really hated her for attacking Kirk, but then my heart softened up for her at the second time.
Hey, how's it going? Oh, SF Stress VK, sorry, not SFB. Yes, Lower Decks needs to have that outfit reappear
Oh
as
really?
well.
It should have it.
It
I
should.
thought
It
it
should
did. I
have
was
it.
like, that would have been amazing.
What about you, Robbie? What did you think of her character overall?
She wasn't that great. She seemed quite conflicted. I like that she changed her mind when she found out a bit more. Because it's quite easy just to go against someone as soon as they've seemingly done something wrong. But then, she got a bit more. She got the facts a bit more, and she changed her mind. I think that was quite good.
It was good. It was a weird contradiction. She said something like, "Well, I actually read my father's letters to my mother, and he really liked you." But then later, when we see Finney, actually, he's like, "I've hated you since this incident," and so it was a weird thing. I don't know if that was like just rewrites or just something.
Couldn't they have been old letters though?
It just seems like this guy's been harboring this hatred since the day that, by the way, what Finney did is kind of irresponsible. He apparently left something like an antimatter thing open that in 5 more minutes would have destroyed the ship that they were on. So I get why Kirk would be like, I gotta report this. This is like, you can't be doing this. And Kirk was an ensign, by the way, on the Republic, so we get a little bit of backstory. Right? Was that the ship? The ship was called the Republic. So we get an interesting backstory, and Finney was a lieutenant at the time, and apparently that incident marked his record, which I also find really harsh. Like Starfleet seems to be like quite harsh, but that basically he never got promoted after that because he's still like a lieutenant, right, or something like that during this time.
Yeah, he's still a lieutenant because he was held back because of that bad mark on his record.
That bad mark. So he's been holding this grudge for like.
But Kirk still liked him enough. Kirk still liked him enough that when he got command of the ship, he well, I'll give you a job on my ship.
Yeah, Kirk definitely saw something in him.
Well, yeah, there's like a definite friendship because he was an instructor at the academy apparently. So like they've known each other since the academy days, and I wonder if like Finnegan and Finney were the same kind of origin, because didn't Finnegan also instruct at the academy?
He was the fellow student.
I was shore leave again.
Oh, he was a fellow student. Okay, he was a fellow student. But yeah,
but
very
that guy was a leprechaun, like straight up leprechaun.
Yes.
This dude was he was just angry. That's all he was.
Who's the actor who has like the kind of intense eyes just like him? He's a very famous actor. I can't believe I'm drawing a current actor. Willem Dafoe could totally play this character in Strange New Worlds. If we ever revisited Finney, I would like.
He's too old. Willem Dafoe is too older than this.
Yeah, you could do like that de-aging software, I guess, or whatever. But someone like Willem Dafoe.
But Star Trek does better than Star Wars, by the way. Like compare Picard to Luke Skywalker. Who did it better?
Jean-Luc did look pretty good in those.
They didn't actually have Mark Hamill there.
Yeah, that's
Right,
why it didn't
that's
look as
true.
good.
That's true. Let's see here. Da, da, da. I'm actually lamenting the 23 weeks of Trek is almost. I know. I so love having new Trek to think about in my life. I think it's gonna be cool to watch Discovery again now that it's over as a whole season. I don't think that they are meant to be serialized every week. It should be a bingeable show. When is the next
I
back?
disagree, because then how would
Arcs?
we cover it? How would we cover it if they just dropped it all
That's
at one
true.
time? I'm so glad they don't do that.
All right, I agree. You're
Just
right.
be
That's
patient.
true.
Just wait. Everyone's so impatient these days. You don't know how to just wait for stuff.
Glad someone said it.
We were speculating last night that the fall of 2021, which feels like an eternity. How have you been doing? Very cool. Yes, we were speculating that. Let's see. What else do we have to cover on this episode other than the poor father?
Oh, sorry.
You gotta go back.
Can't
You
stop
gotta go
yawning.
back to bed. You.
Oh, good. I wasn't looking.
It's not a reflection on
Yep,
this episode,
got
by
him.
the way. Fathery actually likes this episode.
I do, yeah.
But maybe it's
Court
maybe
martial.
it's a reflection on this discussion, though. Hey Jay, how's it going? And hey. Oh, is Cobley the voice of Piglet?
I think PJ is thinking of that episode I was mentioning, the Wolf in the Fold character
Oh,
there.
okay, cool. I
Is
got
that
so excited. I was like, "What?"
What's up, PJ?
I love Piglet.
He's also in the Twilight Zone. He's in that Christmas episode of the Twilight Zone with the drunk Santa Claus at the mall that gets fired. It's Piglet who fires him.
Oh, that's crazy. That's nuts. I keep wanting to yawn whenever I see you yawn. It's like the funniest thing.
Just don't look at it.
I bet our audience is yawning too. This is gonna be like the most reviled Starfleet Way episode because it's gonna force everyone to yawn when they see you yawning. It's
Like, court martial.
One of my dearest friends is very, he's very susceptible to the yawning being contagious. And when he was like a younger, like I've known him since he was 9 years old, and when he was like really young, we used to yawn on purpose to make him start yawning. And so this is revenge. So Moni, you got your revenge on
Karma.
my show years later. Yeah, this is karma. Getting me back for all the times I would like.
He's watching the episode now going, yes!
Yes, in the middle of like a conversation, he'd be like talking and like very like serious. I'd just like make sure I was in his line of sight and start yawning, and then he couldn't help it, and he would start yawning in the middle of his like conversation.
This is
I hope you're really excited about this job interview. Oh, yes, I really... Damn it, Starfleet boy!
Well, it's like Justin Timberlake said, "Whatever goes around comes around."
It's true. What goes around goes around goes around. Okay. Track trials are not yawn worthy. So yeah, would this be like I know Menagerie had a trial, but I think this is like the first.
You don't know what I'm doing. I wasn't yawning.
This is like the first courtroom.
All
drama.
yawns would be like this from now on.
I have always hated the scene in Star Trek Discovery where Burnham is being court-martialed, because I really think it was weird that the tribunal is in the shadows, and I think they should have had
smoke in there.
There's smoke in there. It's like weird, yeah. It's like they should have. That would have been a great opportunity.
That little bell. When you ring that bell thing.
Yeah. By the way, fun fact: that bell is the same bell used in the First Duty in the trial scene for Crusher and the gang.
They use it in Deep Space Nine when they do the trial there. With
I didn't realize that
trial.
Yeah, it's very cool. I think it's
I prefer the spark ball on the Klingon court. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I'm like, all courts should have that.
But yeah, so let's see what else is there to talk about. Just a few other fun facts. You get a couple of registry numbers in the background in the Commodore's office, and one of those is the registry that would later go to the Reliant.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very, very cool.
1864. The Reliant was here. We didn't see it, but the Reliant was like getting repairs done at the starbase while this was going on.
I wonder what a pre-refit Reliant would have looked like with the style of with the same style
Maybe
of
it looked the same. Or maybe it looked like Discovery style.
It could have. I mean, that's totally like now, we expect that to be a thing now, right? It would have looked like the Shunzo, maybe.
Well, we know that the Reliant is a newer ship than the Enterprise, more than likely because it's 1864, and that's a higher number than 1701. So who knows? It might have came out of the dry dock looking the way it looks in the Wrath of Khan, more or less. Or it could have been like a more TOS style with like the round circular nacelles.
It would be neat to see, actually. It would be really cool and would kind of explain some of the issues people have with the design aesthetics, like expecting them all to look like the Enterprise with the same like jeweled ram scoops and all that stuff. The ruby red ram scoops and all that stuff is kind of like the expectation, but it would be nice if we knew that like that other style actually existed at the same time, and so did the Discovery style, and so on and so forth. So that's a fun thing that I think that you could fill in with Strange New Worlds.
Good segue.
So Strange New Worlds, we definitely want to see Finney, right?
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe. We want to see Cogley.
Cogley, definitely.
I think we also want to see
Definitely.
Ariel. I think there should be an episode with these characters somehow woven into Strange, and the Commodore. I think we should go to Starbase 11, as a matter of fact. That's what we should do, which we threatened to do in Discovery. Discovery was on its way to Starbase 11 in season 2, if I'm not mistaken, in the Telosian episode, and that's what Pike does to trick them.
It's close to Talos 4.
Right, so yeah, so nice little tie-in there. All right, cool. I've run out of my notes for this episode.
Comments?
Do you guys have anything else? Yeah, or comments? Do you guys have anything else to talk about or raise about this episode?
I guess the Spock and McCoy stuff is always good.
Oh yeah,
you don't care when he's like, "What are you doing playing chess?" You don't care that your best friend is on trial and Spock is you get like a real like Spock is trying to prove there's something wrong with the computer.
That's right. Actually, McCoy was great in this episode. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Robbie.
Rewatching TOS, I've just appreciated Leonard Nimoy's acting because he always steals the scenes that he's in.
He is really good.
Yeah.
It's no wonder all the sci-fi babes were pining for him and had crushes on Spock. I mean, he's a very like awesome character, and I think like very confident. He comes across so confident.
The single most iconic character in all of Star Trek.
Trek on the Tube hates this, but it's true. It's totally true.
Especially for like before Next Generation and DS9 and Voyager and all the other shows. Back when it was like only the original series, in the animated series and the movies with the original series people, Spock was like by far like the most iconic.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Yeah. They've had so many Vulcans in the series, nothing comes close to Spock.
Tuvok, like nobody. Kind of. I'm really appreciating Tuvok. Just I guess because of the frequency that we see him at. And I think I'll like T'Pol. From what I remember, I kind of liked her character, but Spock is definitely like
they're not recognizable like Spock is.
Yeah.
Like, I agree. Never watch Star Trek. If you show them a picture of Spock, like they know who it is.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
If you showed them Tuvok, they'd be like, "Who the hell is it?" They wouldn't know.
And because of the ubiquitousness of the appearances of Spock, one can very easily create like an argument that Star Trek is about Spock.
Oh,
like all of Star Trek, like all the way through, like it's his story.
I don't think Star Trek is about any one person. There is no main character of all of Star Trek.
He's there in all the series. He's like in every single iteration of Star Trek, basically, including
He
Nick Calvin
does get
films.
mentioned even like the shows that he's not in, like
DS9.
he's in Deep Space Nine. He's in Trials and Tribulations. I don't know what the hell that was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think that was Robbie buzzing.
That was the red alert.
Oh.
Red alert.
Yeah, Red Alert, wrap it up. It's almost an
About to
hour.
wrap it up.
Season 1 and 2 had iffy ways they ended. Discovery, but it looks like they really took their time to wrap up season 3. Yeah, we're gonna find out next week.
Yeah.
McCoy barges in like he wants to strangle Spock. It's true. He also like entertains.
McCoy's another ladies' man, just like Kirk is, though.
Yeah, he totally entertains Shaw, right? Like in that scene.
It's like he was trying to steal her from Kirk.
He's being a gentleman.
He is being a gentleman. He's very nice. I like Dr. McCoy too. The trio is just fantastic. Spock is fantastic. Still my favorite character. My favorite Star Trek character. Hey, Spock was my imaginary friend when I was a kid, so yeah, I can't argue with that. Spock broke the mold. Thumbs down on Tuvok. Thumbs down on Tuvok in the same league as Spock. All right, sorry.
Yeah.
Sarek was a great character as well. It's true. All Vulcans borrow from Spock. Tuvok does a great job of that. Wow, nice. We got a little spark going in the chats about Spock. I guess he is really Sarek in the search for Spock was stunning. It's true. Sarek and TNG had me bawling in his last scene. Yeah, that was very very touching. I remember that being touching at the time as well. And Disco. Yeah, actually I love James Franz's portrayal of Sarek. I was a little worried about it in the beginning, but I actually do really like it.
You know what's cool about that is they can't put him and Ethan Peck in a scene together because in Journey to Babel, they're like, oh yeah, like Spock and Sarek, they haven't spoken to each other in years. So, I mean, they could maybe work around because they're like, they haven't spoken to each other as father and son. So maybe they spoke to each other like some different way. But
well, so far they respected that really well because you don't ever see Spock in the same scenes except for the one scene in the episode where Michael goes to fetch him on Vulcan, but Spock's out of his mind.
Yeah, he's like
so
in the corner mumbling to himself.
So yeah, like it's interesting.
But when you see if you could see the two of them, I should say, like side by side, like I saw them at Star Trek Las Vegas. They did a panel together and they were on stage and they look like they could be father and son.
Oh, that's fantastic. So did
Nimoy and Mark Leonard.
And Mark Leonard.
That's
yeah, it's
cool.
Interesting. Yeah, it's very cool.
That's some good casting right there.
Yeah,
it is indeed. I just want to finish the discussion with the kiss on the bridge. I was a sucker for that scene. I thought it was very cute and romantic.
You would be.
I was totally a sucker for it, and I liked it. It was a nice, sweet moment, and it showed, just this like kind of like no harm done, kind of like all is good thing with them, which I really enjoyed. What did you guys think of that scene?
Just Kirk showing how big his dick is again. That's all. He's just showing off to the crew like I could do this.
She asks him for the kiss, and he
didn't
like,
have
well,
to do
I don't
it.
think any. Yeah, but come on. I mean,
he could have gone into his quarters, but no.
I would kiss a former fling that tried to prosecute me on my bridge. I thought it was totally acceptable.
And then he got a little grilling from his crew, Spock and McCoy, like, yeah, she must be really good.
I want to be a Trek lawyer says it is silly. Yeah, it doesn't. It is silly, but I really
agree.
Like it still. What do you guys think?
Very unprofessional.
The original series had like that habit, like they wanted to end on kind of like a silly moment. So it's kind of like how all the episodes that end with like everyone on the bridge laughing.
Yeah, for the uncontrollable laughing. Yeah.
Robbie, what did you think of that scene?
I think I prefer when they're laughing on the bridge.
Rather than it.
I think if you're going to have romance, it has to be. You have to have really good chemistry for it to work for me.
I didn't think of it as a romantic kiss, by the way. I just thought of it as a friendship kiss because it wasn't like, making out. It was just like a little kissy kiss. It was like a peck on the. Like,
that wasn't no peck. You need to watch that again.
Yeah,
maybe I do.
I didn't watch the episode this week. I'm just going off on my memory, so I'll have to.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'll have to go and check.
Good job.
That was not a peck.
Oh, whatever. Starfleet Boy's overriding Shaka. I'm overriding you now. Just kidding. All right, cool. It's time to give it our ratings. Audience,
You're
thank
gonna
for joining
push
us.
the drop pod on me.
Let us know if there's anything we didn't talk about that you thought was important to mention. There were there's a tweet on Twitter that I did, and there were some really cool discussion points there. I thought that I Want to Be a Trek Lawyer did a cool job of pointing out some of the interesting things, like, for example, another, again, unintentional, now we know, from Melinda Snodgrass, but there's also, like, if you look at Measure of a Man as a follow-up to this in Spirit, it's interesting how in this episode the machine, was being, like, kind of, like, put above, the computer's word was being put above that of a human, and Cogley's petitioning that this can't be, this shouldn't be done, like, what kind of society are we becoming? And then later it's about deciding whether a machine is sentient and has the ability to be respected as much as, like, a person would be. So I thought that was a cool little kind of, like, interesting, like, tie-in. I just think I like pairing up TNG and TOS episodes, and I'd never seen those connections before, and I kind of like them. So this would be like a pairing for me in future rewatches. So yeah.
Red alert.
Red alert. I love that.
Wrap it up. 57 minutes.
Yeah, it's true. So I give this episode a 9 out of 10 comm badges or patches. I give it a 9, Starbase 9 out of 11.
I'll give it 8 out of 10 ion pods.
Shaka?
I'm timing it. That was a 4-second kiss. 4 seconds.
He actually went back.
That was 4 seconds.
That's an insanely long kiss. Nor is it like a very tame kiss. It's just like in the middle.
I love how we went back to that.
And
Maybe
it gets a 7.5 out of 10 for me. 7.5
high rating.
Lawyers out of 10.
7.5 lawyers out of 10.
Yeah.
Robbie, will you give us the final rating?
I give it an 8 buttons out of 10.
Nice. The eject buttons. That's awesome.
Hit it 8 times.
Very cool. Let's see. Stress Free K gives it a 9, so right along with me. TOS is 9.0 because TOS is the first. It's true. It is.
That is
All
true.
right.
Yeah. Still sticking with the 7.5, but that is true. It's a good point.
Guys, check out Shaka on Netflix and various films. You can look him up on IMDb. Shaka, you go under Shaka Da Silva, right? Like,
that's correct.
IMDb, right? So Shaka Da Silva. You can see him in The Vampire Diaries. You can see him in Star Trek Picard. Which is really cool. I love. I'll never get tired of saying that.
And the red shirt.
And we're hoping that this year Shaka can get back to LA and get back to work, even though I'll miss you. I haven't even seen you. I've been so crazy.
We almost, but then
we haven't actually seen each other.
Just a bad turn of affairs happened. But we'll do it again. We'll try and do it again.
I Want to Be a Trek Lawyer says extra credit for predicting deepfakes. It's true. Star Trek predicts a lot of stuff. And if it doesn't, it's easy to add things in retrospect because there are a lot of similarities. Check out Robbie, who just started. He's on Twitter as Earl Grey Trekkie and on YouTube as Earl Grey Trekkie 1701.
Happy New Year, Robbie.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all you guys. But check him out on his YouTube channel. We had a fun discussion over there, and I'm sure when time permits, because Robbie is still a student at the academy, when time permits, he will put up some more content. And of course, check out the wonderful Fathery over at Text Trek, who just completed his 130th episode of Text Trek, which is pretty awesome. We're getting close to that 200 episode celebration, right?
It's still a little bit away, but we're getting close to 147, which for me
yeah, that's true. We got to do like a celebration over there. Next week we're gonna wrap up on all of our shows, our Star Trek Discovery season 3 discussions. When we get the finale airing on Thursday, come and check me and Trek on the Tube out, and likely anyone else who wants to join. Sometimes PJ from Boat Wreck joins us. And Father's usually in the chats, which is fun. And then afterwards on Friday we'll do a deep fun dive on Text Trek, and then TQIF. I almost said TGIF. TQIF continues late at night with Starfleet Boy After Dark. Hey Father, when disco's over, what are you gonna do on Friday nights?
We'll talk about that, because
I
have some ideas planned.
All right, sounds good. All right, y'all. Check these folks out, subscribe to their channels, and thank you for all your support. Please don't forget to like this video if you liked it, so that you can smash that like button to confound the algorithm, and we'll see